Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Real Talk Russ. We're coming to you live from Westeros. All right guys, so you probably thought that was pretty neat, right? Our new little introduction here. You can probably tell we're on a different set here, and that's going to lead us into what we're going to talk about in today's topic on Real Talk Russ. So welcome to the Real Talk Russ podcast. Of course, I'm joined with my guest Tyler, best friend and co-host, and we have something kind of interesting for you guys today. So although it may be kind of looking like things are normal here on production, it's actually going to be a little bit different today, which we're going to kind of introduce. So we are currently on a green screen movie set right now, and that's going to kind of it's going to play a little precedence into what we're talking about today. So what we're going to bring up is going to be the Hollywood entertainment industry today. Yeah. And we're going to have a little bit of opinion, I think. Our opinions are going to shine through on this one. Oh, yeah. And it's interesting. We're going to see where we're going to go with this one. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people chiming in on this one because there's going to be a lot of heavyweight opinions for just everybody in general with what we have. So with this being said, let's go, man. Let's make this happen. All right. So what we're going to talk about is going to be, is the Hollywood entertainment industry, are they running out of ideas? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do we mean by that? Are they running out of ideas? So if we look at Hollywood in itself, movies, shows, all the entertainment media that we see currently, is it just me or does it seem like there's a lot of reboots? There's a lot of revamps that are kind of happening.
Yeah, it seems like we're seeing the same story over and over and over again, in different forms, whether it be different cultures or whatever, but it's still the same story. Or just plain out reboots of everything. And then we go to see the same movie over and over and over again, which you and I have always had a joke since I've known you about the Jurassic Park movies. And I've told you when they revamped them, I said, this is how the movie's going to end. There's going to be
pissed me off so much with that.
There's going to be a T-Rex that comes out at the end, and then it's going to go, and then movie's over. And then you went and saw the movie, and you're like,
I think I texted you right after it happened, and I was like, fuck you. I really think I did, man. Like, honestly, I think that's what I did, because he called it. He 100% don't anyone say that it doesn't happen. It happens every
Jurassic
maybe
Park movie.
It's not the T-Rex, but most of the time it is.
It's always the T-Rex.
Yeah, it's like, but then it's like it saves the day, and they're like, oh, we made it.
There's one movie where they did like a hybrid of the T-Rex, and then that one died, and then the weaker T-Rex still came out.
Hell yeah!
And then that was the end of the movie, and it's there's no creativity in it, and it's
it's. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of opinions on this one. You're canceled. You're canceled, dude. You're done. Chris Pratt himself is going to cancel you. So yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about today, right? Like we've seen a lot of revamps, reboots, especially in the past. I think last year, 2023, was strong with reboots, man. Mm-hmm. It was really strong. I mean, because production on those things started, probably a year or two before that. Yeah. And then even this year, we're starting to see more of them, right? So we look at last year, what did we have? We had Godzilla, right? I'm kind of throwing a little call back to Indiana Jones, right? My shirt going on right now. Yeah. But yeah, we saw Indiana Jones, which did not do well, unfortunately. I liked it. I thought it was cool, but a lot of people didn't.
I didn't even see it.
No? Didn't waste your time. We saw, did I say Godzilla already? I think, Godzilla, Indiana Jones. James, what else do we got? Scream.
Jurassic World, Indiana Jones,
The Exorcist. Wonka, dude. Yeah. Oh my God.
Wonka. I don't need a 17th Wonka movie. Like the first one was fine. I think that one was a classic, and I don't think they add anything to it every time. Like the revamps that I appreciate are like 007, James Bond, right? Because it's set up that way to every time once the story ends, we bring in a new James Bond, a new idea, new creativity on it. And again, like what we talked about with Jurassic Park. This is the same story that we're hearing every time. You know, I get it. You can say that James Bond saves the world every time and all that, but it's a different character with a different flavor on how he is James Bond. You can pick a different Bond. Like everyone's got their favorite Bond. Mine's Daniel Craig, the new one. Apparently, I'm his twin, according to you.
Wait, everyone has their favorite Bond?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mine's Savannah Bond, but that's a different Bond.
Okay. We're talking about.
Oh wait, hold on. We're talking about James Bond.
We're talking about the Hollywood industry.
Hollywood. Yeah. Wrong one. Sorry. Yes. No, I got you. Yeah.
But you know, like for me, Godzilla touches my heart because when I was a kid, I had a VHS tape of the original Japanese version of.
Oh, you went Japanese, okay.
Yeah, and I would replay that thing over and over and over again. And my mom knew she never even had to raise me, just sit in front of the TV and I just press rewind. Now the new movies aren't that great, but to me it's kind of like nostalgic for me personally. I
will say though, arguably, Gareth Edwards, his Jurassic Park, his Godzilla dude killed it, man. Mm-hmm. That guy's phenomenal. Yeah, Gareth Edwards.
Join the podcast.
Join the podcast, man. Let's get you on. Yeah, no, he did a really good job. Obviously, he directed Rogue One, so kind of partial to him with that. But no, what he touches, dude, good stuff.
Yeah,
hands down, good stuff. But yeah, no, I can see that Godzilla. See, I liked the Godzilla with. It was like done in like 98 or 97.
Yeah,
that one. I thought that was cool. But we were kids though.
With
you know what I'm saying?
P Diddy theme song.
Was it P Diddy? Oh,
yeah. Hey. Can't talk about that.
Cancel. We're gonna cancel right now. You said P Diddy. Yeah. But yeah, so like that was one I think I would give an exception to that I really did like. But that was years ago already too. I mean that might be like 7 years old already at this point, somewhere around there. It's getting older. So yeah, I can kind of see that. And I agree. So James Bond, you're talking about to go back into that. They're doing another one, right?
Oh yeah, no, they're going to. Yeah, they're always going to.
Who do you know? Who they were talking about bringing in?
They were gonna bring Idris Elba in, and I thought that was a good pick. But
that was years ago. That they were talking
but I think he denied that one. I don't know about the current. No.
Maybe James can look that one up for us. But there was, I know they were talking about bringing somebody in, someone reputable that was kind of popular currently. Yeah. So we'll see who that is. He'll scream it out soon. So in case, once again, guys, we have James, our guy in the chair. He's back there. He's typing stuff up and looking up things for us. So you hear him scream things at us from time to time.
We forget if we do anything wrong.
But when we do bad stuff, he yells at us. But the whole point I think is so there was a lot of revamps. I think is what we're kind of getting at. A lot of revamps, a lot of remakes, a lot of reboots, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were necessary. I mean, James was screaming Wonka the other just a minute ago, and I'm like, dude, I
didn't need it.
We had the original one with what's his face, and then we had Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
which I didn't even watch it.
I didn't watch it either. I couldn't. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. And that's the thing is some of these things I don't have an interest to go rewatch it.
Yeah,
the reason why I'm on board for the Godzilla movies is they kind of did almost like an Avengers thing where they incorporated Kong and they wanted to build a whole franchise of it. So it's not just a single Godzilla kills people and then saves the world or whatever, right?
Right.
There was more to it, more in depth. Wonka, it's the same story. And it's just over and over the same story, and I don't need 6 iterations of it.
You don't want to see six different Oompa Loompas? And
no, I'm good. I saw it the first time, and it was great when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And some of those movies need to just stay when I was a kid. Because
some things just need to stay dead.
That's right. For me, I don't want to watch them because I don't want them to ruin the original view I had of them.
Yeah.
And what's funny is you're a big Star Wars fan, obviously, right? And we all know you're a Star Wars fan. My dad has that same view on Star Wars because when he saw Star Wars as a kid, there was nothing like it. There was, movie-wise, it was the biggest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And the new ones, he doesn't want it to tarnish kind of his.
Did he like Rogue One?
I don't know if he saw that.
You gotta ask.
Yeah, I gotta talk to him. Yeah. So then maybe.
You gotta ask if he liked it.
So the new James Bond is going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor
That's
Johnson.
not
he
bad.
was in Godzilla.
Yeah.
He was in Godzilla. So that kind of brings...
And he was Quicksilver.
Yeah, and he was Quicksilver in MCU. So yeah. Which kind of sucks that they got rid of him. And, he was in there for a quick... And then he was gone. He did a good job in that too.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he would be a good role for that. And let's be real, the 007 movies too, honestly, they haven't done anything really bad with that. I could also say, even the Mission Impossible movies, those are fine, but do we need another Fast 96? Probably not,
No.
How many times can Rock save the world? Or, Vin Diesel, a guy from the streets, is now all of a sudden he's topping Navy SEALs and guys who've done this shit for real every day.
Flying cars into outer space.
He's flying cars, dude, into outer space. Let's be real. Let things die. You know what I'm saying?
It's money. It's just money. Man.
And that's why I say, is it a quick cash grab? 100%. Is it, are they trying to hit our, nostalgia from us being kids? Mm. Or is it just a lack of creativity? What is it? You guys tell us, what is it? That's kind of the whole, thought behind this topic. I think it's big, and that's why we're here on this set. It kind of ties into that, right? What's going on? If you look at what's coming up next, they're revamping things from our childhood, right? And I don't know if they need to reboot these things. The Matrix, do we need to reboot The Matrix?
No.
What?
I don't think they're really rebooting The Matrix. What they're doing
So they're doing prequels, or they're adding stuff in.
Don't
but
need
like,
that either.
We don't need that.
Me
you
personally,
know?
I hate prequels. Always have, because I already know the ending.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like,
You
but
know.
we're gonna tell you a story you didn't know about how it got started.
Yeah.
So Keanu Reeves was like a nerd guy, hacker guy. Like, we don't need to know that story. And how did he get younger and older? Let me guess.
So
we're gonna
whatever
CGI
happens in the
him.
prequel, I know it leads to the Keanu Reeves saving the world.
Yeah,
Story over. I can save you guys a lot of money and a lot of time.
yeah. But Agent Smith, you know.
Don't care. He
Don't
loses.
care.
He loses in the end. So
That's true.
no matter what happens, even like in any story, like to me, if you're gonna make a movie and you want to do a prequel, do like a show, right? Like do like a prequel show so we can kind of watch it just to get to know characters more, all that kind of thing. But don't make me spend money and go spend 3 hours in a movie theater just to hate whatever you put out for me.
Yeah.
And I already know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
So I'm not a prequel fan, personally.
Fair enough. me personally, I like prequels, but it just depends. Once again,
'Cause you're a Star Wars fan.
Because I'm a Star Wars fan. Not everyone though. Not every time is it worth it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are coming out, and I just don't know if we really need reboots with those.
Yeah.
And then I think they're kind of learning their lessons too. Like Indiana Jones kind of tanked, dude. For all intents and purposes, it tanked. It didn't do well.
Yeah.
I think Disney's kind of learning that, and so they're kind of like going back and saying, hey, like what do we need to do different? There's a lot of things, and people have a lot of opinions on why certain things don't work. Is it because they went woke? Is it because of the message they're trying to convey? Like
Partially, I think it all plays in. It's why, like even in Marvel, you and I are huge Marvel fans. We used to go to every movie. Now you couldn't pay us to go to a Marvel movie.
Well, see, that's the thing too with you were talking about Marvel, so that's another one that I was going to bring up is the Marvels, right? Didn't do well, dude.
Nope.
That was another one that they saw like lack of vision, dude. I mean, once again, that's you reap what you sow. You don't put enough creativity into something, the fans aren't going to watch it regardless of how many people you pack into that movie.
Well, yeah. So Marvel was so successful with the first franchise that they did. Well, the current one that ended in 2023. And then I feel like it's like an arrogance. They felt like no matter what story we put out, it's going to do well because
Yeah, 100%.
every movie was doing crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And then they put out like the Miss Marvel show. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to watch that. Nobody asked for it, and they force-fed it down our throats. Like even the video game that came out, they made a video game about the Avengers, and everyone was super hyped for it, and it was all based around Miss Marvel. Like nobody asked for that character.
Yeah.
So I feel like they just think no matter what we throw out, it's going to work, and it's very lazy. And nobody in it. They're like you said, reaping what they sow.
Yeah.
We're not going to the movies anymore.
That kind of happened with like Indiana Jones, I think, not to go back to that, but I think it did as well. They're like, hey, you guys remember this character from way back when? Mm-hmm. Here's another movie. And then it's like, although I found it entertaining, a lot of people just didn't. It wasn't entertaining enough, I think is what it was. And that's kind of sad. That kind of sucks. But I hope maybe it just forces more creativity. Maybe they get rid of some of those people that weren't really doing their job and just trying to take the easy paycheck and actually say, all right, let's hire good writers. Let's spend more money into our creativity department and come up with something more original.
But I know there's and actually James can speak on this more than I can, but I know with the writer strikes and everything that's been going on with movies, do you think that plays a part in it?
Oh, 100%, dude. 100%. Think about this. These guys, and once again, I could be speaking out of context, and hopefully, we don't get people, coming out with some pitchforks and stuff. But
come on the podcast with pitchforks. That's fine.
Yeah, right. But that actually would be kind of cool. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened. People were out of jobs, right? All the creative guys didn't have jobs because they're all union based, whatnot. And then maybe they just hired people that were for lack of a better word, not really writers, not really creative. And then they bring them in, and hey, this is what you're going to do now, right? And they just take those ideas, run with them. Now the strikes are over. We'll see what happens.
There's a meme. I can't even. I wish I didn't bring this up, but because I can't remember his name, but he's funny. He's on Instagram, and he always does this thing where he goes in a meeting room and he's like, all right, let's just remake some movies, and he just throw out random ideas to me, and then he'll write them down. It's almost like you do a sentence and there's a blank word and fill in the blank,
right.
And then they'll do that, and then that's the movie he comes with, and it's always Fast and Furious or whatever it is, and he's like, cool, we're gonna make millions, and who cares if nobody likes it?
Yeah,
and that's how it seems like the meeting rooms are going right now.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't know. Like I said, to me, it kind of bugs me a little bit, just a little bit. But I know there's hope. There's always hope. You'll see certain things. Of course, you mentioned Star Wars, right? I love Star Wars. So they just talked about maybe about a month or two ago that they're going to release The Mandalorian in a movie. So now that's going to be the Mandalorian Grogu. That's going to be a whole movie. Everyone's pretty excited about that. Now, I've heard some theories that people are saying maybe that was just designed to say instead of making a fourth season, we're just going to make a 2-hour movie versus a 4-hour, 5-hour show, and we can use a bigger production value, like kind of get that set up that way, and not have to worry about those kind of issues. So. Maybe,
it's
I don't know.
Save money too. You think about it. Like if you're shooting like a series that has 10 episodes in it, that's 10 hours of filming plus, all the time around it versus like a 2-hour movie. To me, I would assume that it's like easier.
Yeah.
So it might be even more cost efficient to that.
Probably, but I also think it's like rewatchability, right? Like how much money do they really make on Disney Plus? Well, one, you have to have subscribers, right? It's not just free to watch. The rewatchability is there, but at the end of the day, if you go to see a movie twice, they've cashed out way more than on one subscription where you and all your friends watch it. You and all your friends go to a movie, that's a lot more money.
Well, how many times do we see Avengers, like Infinity War?
Exactly.
4 or 5 times, and for you, probably a lot more. But
Well, dude, I saw it on like every format, 4D, 3D, 2D. 1D, I don't even know. I watched it in every way.
Camcorder.
The little Japanese version where the guy's like, hiding it in his coat. And, no, I didn't watch it on bootleg. But don't cancel me. I swear I don't support that. But legitimately, like we really did. It's one of those things. I don't know. Like I said, it kind of begs the question, and you're kind of seeing it in other areas, right? Not just movies and shows, but sorry, dude, I'm going to say it, games.
Yeah.
Gaming, dude. How many Call of Duties do we need?
We don't. And that's the thing. Like, I'm a big Call of Duty player.
Yeah, you are.
Not very good at it, but I play it. But we always talk about there's nothing else to play. So that's why, and Call of Duty knows that. They put out a game every year because they make the money every year. Every year it's trash. Like there's problems with the servers, problems with the gameplay itself, but they know we're going to buy it.
100%.
Because we have nothing else to play.
Yeah.
Like every couple years, there was like Elden Ring that came out, and everyone loved that. But after you beat it 3 or 4 times, it's like, okay, can't replay it. But Call of Duty, you can replay it all the time because it's a new map or a new mode every time.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that though is also its gameplay has changed. So when I grew up in PC gaming and stuff, like what was big on that was single player. The internet wasn't really used for gaming, right? So everything was single. You had to have a very dynamic, diverse and interesting game. So you had games like, when Duke Nukem came out, Doom, Need for Speed. Those were all single player based games initially, and then the really groundbreaking games like Unreal, and then Half-Life. Dude, I'll go down and say like Half-Life. Yeah, that was one of the best games that ever came out. I would say, but it's creative, right? It's unique, it's different. You don't see that with games anymore, man. Like it's always just, okay, here's a gun, you run around, you're shooting this guy, you're shooting that guy. It's all just multiplayer based stuff. It's not really creative. They're not pushing that, hey, like if you're by yourself, Wi-Fi don't work, what are you going to play? Like the storyline's not there, and they're dependent on you playing with somebody else to make it entertaining. That to me is a cop-out. I'll flat out say it. It's a cop-out. That's why you have all the Fortnites and all the, remember when PUBG was a thing? That disappeared. Now it's just Fortnite. And then Minecraft. That's why all those games are popular, because you're dependent on other people. Like, that's just really what it comes down to. And like I said, that to me is just lazy. That's not creative. That's not creative. It's lack of creativity. And it's like, even like, remember Roblox, and that was a thing a couple years back with all the kids and stuff? Dude, you're talking about like literally the first games ever invented were like that. And we didn't like it because we just liked it because that's what we had, not because we thought it was genuinely the coolest thing.
We didn't have options.
You didn't have options, just dude. Like you don't see people driving around a horse and buggy still because they like it. No, it's like that's how they did, because it was a lack of options. It's like if you can whip around in your expedition, you're going to take that over a damn horse. Depending on where you're on the country, but don't want to offend anybody. But that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Recently, I've been playing a game from 2016, and I've been replaying the crap out of it.
I love that, dude.
So, I play older games because they're more fun and they're more challenging. I'm not just with a gun every time trying to chase the same guy around a corner who's doing whatever kind of crazy movement in Call of Duty. That's why the gaming to me is always very special, because it's how I bonded with my brothers when I was young. We got the very first regular Nintendo in '93, I believe, 1993. I'm old, I know. And that's how we would always sit there and bond and not fight for like 2 hours, right?
Oh, that shit caused fights.
It ended up causing fights.
Yeah, most
right?
households, that shit caused fights.
It ended up causing fights, but the rest of the day, we were always fighting over anything, right? And so for just a solitary hour, we were able to just focus on the TV.
Why? Because even whoever was playing, you were just watching.
Yeah,
right? You're just
yeah.
watching. You're just waiting, and you're waiting for your turn.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And trying to make them die so you can get
Yeah.
your turn too, right?
Yeah.
So, and so for me, like we started gaming very young. You know, I was probably 6 years old when this happened, maybe 5, and we kind of just. I've always evolved through the games, you know, and the games, the capability they have now is so crazy, but I feel like they don't capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the games just don't. From where I was playing games in 1993 versus where we're at now, I feel like we should be so much further along.
Yeah, and like that's why. Have you ever tried VR?
Yes.
Okay, so I liked it. I was actually a real big fan. I had to stop though. That was a problem. Like I knew, man. I was like, I caught myself looking at HP's version of VR, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna
what?
HP. They have their own VR headset and stuff
Okay.
because there's different. The Oculus, right? There's
Yeah,
different
yeah.
ones.
I did the Oculus.
So I was, I did, and I tried that one too, but I was like the better one at the time, it was a couple years back, was like HP's. So I was like, oh, dude, and I was like, I'm going to start spending thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, what's convenient is laptops. And I was looking at gaming laptops, right? You're talking about upwards of $4,000, if you get a good one. And then those things get outdated really quick. So you got to be careful with that too.
You got to
so
upgrade it and do.
Yeah. And I got rid of my consoles, right? Those are gone. So when I saw VR, I'm like, man, dude. And then I played, it was Half-Life Alyx on the Oculus.
Okay.
And I played that on VR, dude. That was game changing.
I played the boxing game on there, and I was tired in like 2 minutes. And
Oh,
I was,
yeah.
I was over
Yeah.
it. I was like, dude, I can't. I've got the stamina for this anymore.
And when I played like Vader on that on
Yeah.
the Oculus, dude, man, now I'm living in Star Wars. Are you kidding me? You just catch me there at 3 a.m, just like walking around, like. Yeah. Anyway, but like that was awesome to me. But yeah, I had to like.
I feel like even that kind of died out though.
It did.
They made there was like a big promotion for the Iron Man game on the Oculus or for the PlayStation. And I went in there, it was very like low budget. Like there was like 1-2 missions and that was it. And you're like all hyped up for it, but you're like, oh, I'm actually Iron Man. But then you're not because game's over already.
Right.
You know, so no
Yeah,
real
dude,
replayability on that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you even see it transcend from, like movies and shows down to like gaming too. And it's tough, man. I think that's really, really tough when we kind of look at that as a whole, dude. Like,
Yeah.
when are we gonna get some new, fresh ideas? Like, we.
What about like a series based on video games, like Fallout, The Last of Us?
So yeah, that's
They've been doing that.
Yeah, Fallout. I don't know if you guys can hear me. He's talking about like series essentially that like based off of video games and stuff like that, and that's also growing popular. But I think that kind of also falls into that same idea, right? That same
Yeah.
kind of trend of you're taking, like we saw with Need for Speed, right? Like you're Tomb Raider. You're taking games now and you're turning them into movies or shows. I know Fallout was a big one. People were liking that. They were really kind of into it. I haven't seen it. Did you watch it? I didn't watch it.
No, I've watched some.
No, yeah, I haven't seen it. So James saying he saw it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know how that's going to work, and maybe it'll be successful. I have no idea, but I just like to. I don't know. Like I said, I want to see some fresher ideas, some fresher.
Well, a lot of
takes on
people liked, like even my daughter, she likes the Last of Us. Like when that show
Yeah,
came out, it
it's
was
another
based
one.
off a video game, right? To me, it's another zombie show. I've seen this story a million times. You know how I am with zombies. Like it's the same story.
You're going to offend our next guest, dude. You
That's
gotta
fine.
be careful
And
with
he
that.
knows about it.
Yeah, he knows about it. Yeah. So we got something good coming for you guys. We don't want to give you any more than that. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And I'll still talk the same shit when he's here. I just that's where I get like, how many times can I see the same zombie story?
Yeah.
And yes, we can make it into a show that's newer and make 12 seasons of The Walking Dead, but like it's the same thing. Same, even within the seasons, the same story happens. They find a compound, they get safe for a minute, then it's not safe, someone dies. Next season, they find a new compound, get safe, not safe, someone dies. And it's just the same thing.
So, and that the crazy part about it is that came from comics. Right? Robert Kirkman, he created the comics. So it's like, you're even seeing that. They're taking out comics. Well, not now, but I mean, that started back in 2011, 2010. But they're taking things like, there's always creative ideas that spark from somewhere. And I get that, right? They did it with, obviously, the MCU, or one of our favorite things that happened. So I get those things are going to happen, right? And that goes without saying. But when that's all it becomes, it's like, when do
it's
you
the go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
like-
they don't want to use their own. They don't have the ideas, is what I feel like. So they just go to something that's already worked before. All right, cool. Let's throw that into a movie. You know.
So I watched recently, and this might date the show or the episode when it releases, but I recently watched Civil War, the movie that just came out. At the time it just came out. Whenever you see this, who knows? But yeah, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of get into that a little bit because it kind of pertains to what we're talking about. But it was interesting. I thought the movie itself was good. Cinematically, awesome. It was shot really, really good. I think that the action sequences, dude, we saw it in IMAX, and I can tell you, man, you could feel oh yeah, you know what, you could have been there, but you didn't go. Actually, I forgot you ditched me on that one.
Yeah, and I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, but anyway, you probably would have. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have liked it that much. But the action sequences were good, dude. You could feel the sound. They did a really good job. It was an A23 movie, so it was like their first big budget film they did. And you could actually feel the sound on that. You could see, like I said, it was shot really nice. Action was good on it, right?
Yeah.
Storytelling, a little lackluster. Like the whole idea is just you're with like photojournalists, I guess, and they're war photojournalists. So you're just kind of seeing everything through their eyes, really, and how how life is happening during the Civil War in the United States, right? The next Civil War. It doesn't really give you a time frame. The only gripe I had with that is you can tell there was a lack of writing because in what could have been explained in like maybe 5 minutes or one scene, a couple sentences, just give us a background.
Something.
Give us a background, like have an introduction as to why this is happening so we know who's who in the zoo, but instead all you see is like all these guys in uniform shooting at each other, but they're all wearing like U.S. military uniforms, killing each other, and you're like, huh. You see some civilians running around, but they're shooting at military, but you don't know who the freaking hell is who, and it's almost confusing, and I think it distracts you from the movie because at that point, you're too busy trying to figure out who the fuck
You're trying to pick it up on the fly.
You're missing everything else, and I'm like, dude, it irritated me so much that when we got out of the movie, I sat down and actually went on watched a review to get a breakdown to figure out who the hell was who.
See, that's my problem. So you and I, in all of our family, we used to always go to movies all the time. That was our thing. You couldn't pay me to go to the movie theaters now. Every time you ask me to go to the movies, I'm like, dude, I can't stomach sitting through 2 to 3 more hours of a boring ass movie.
You can because you dragged me, and this is the jacked up part. This is my good friend.
This is the ending of it.
No.
This is why I won't do it anymore.
You dragged me to Killers of the Flower Moon, and I just wanted to put a bullet in my head.
And it was terrible. It was fucking terrible.
I don't understand it. Like movies like that, I cannot understand. It was like, we can speed this up. And 3 hours into it, I walked out.
Yeah,
it was probably one of the only movies I've ever walked out on, and I just couldn't do it.
I walked out of Suicide Squad. I walked out of
well, you have balls for even going to watch that. I didn't want to see that.
The third Twilight movie. I walked out of that one. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
but that's my point, though. So every time I've gone to see a movie, I can't even stay awake during it anymore. It doesn't hold my interest the whole time through.
Yeah.
And I look at my girlfriend and I said, "You want to go to the movies?" She's like, No. And I'm like, good, because I don't either, But we'll just rather stay at home, and if we don't like something, we switch to something else on TV. That's the options, right, of a TV show. But I can't bring myself to get into those theaters anymore.
I do it because I don't want to stay out of the loop. I want to see if something good comes out, I want to see it. And like I said, with Civil War, it wasn't a bad movie.
No,
it really wasn't. It was actually decent. It was shot very well. I thought it was good, but just the writing is what fell apart. The storytelling was just missing on that. And then there was a couple parts and scenes, I won't spoil it, but there were a couple scenes where they just didn't make sense. You built a character one way, and then all of a sudden, their arc didn't really make sense. The character story arc didn't make sense. Or at least maybe it did make sense, but it was evolved way too fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It evolved way too fast. We're like, oh, okay, we're there already.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that comes down to writing, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to writing and storytelling. Mm-hmm. And that's what this whole thing is about, just a lack of writing and storytelling. And like I said, it's just we need to get to that point where we start seeing a little bit more creativity, man. A little bit more creativity.
Yeah, I want to see something to spark my interest to go back.
Right?
That's all I want, in something that I know that I can go and have an interest on. Mm-hmm. The last movie I wanted to go see was Napoleon, but something told me not to.
Yep.
And then everything afterwards was that movie was terrible. Like it was
Yeah.
just slow. Like, and that's the thing. Like they'll put out these long movies that the trailers look interesting. It's all action packed. Everything looks great.
Yeah.
But then in the meantime, you got 45 minutes straight of just
Dialogue, and it's like
What?
boring dialogue.
Yeah.
That was Killers of the Flower Moon for me. It's like,
no 100%. the movie
dude,
was-
it showed, and that's where I say like trailers can be very misleading and deceiving. In that trailer, dude, there was stuff blowing up. There was like tense music.
Yeah.
And
It looked
then
dope. That's
you,
why I wanted
you
to go
watch
see it. I defend
30.
myself.
You watch that movie, and for 30 minutes, you just see them talking.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, man, come on. And then it wasn't even like, there's someone who does really good dialogue, and I'll just say this: Quentin Tarantino, phenomenal dialogue. You watch his movies with dialogue, that guy nails it. He knows how to write movies with dialogue. Pulp Fiction, one of the greatest movies I think of all time. I love it. It's great. The dialogue's fantastic.
Yeah.
You laugh. You're like, damn, it's intense. It gets you interested. But once again, you can do it right if you have good writing, right? And like I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan of who he is as a person.
Definitely not.
Personally, that's what I think about you.
Yeah, get
but I will say, as a creative director and a writer, he's good, man. He's solid at what he does. I just probably lost a bunch of people, but
Don't
it doesn't
care.
even matter.
Don't
I
care.
don't give a fuck. It doesn't
Give a
matter.
fuck.
This is real talk, and that's, you don't like it, turn it off, man.
Yeah.
You don't like it, don't watch us. But it's the truth. He's a shit person. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is he's good at what he does, man.
Yeah.
He's good at what he does. He's a good writer, good director, and when it comes to movies, man, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Still got
that's
fucked up.
yeah, that's what I can say. Like that 100% is what it is. But yeah, like I said, there's ways of going about doing that dialogue, and
I almost feel like certain directors and scriptwriters don't understand their own story sometimes. Like, so Killers of the Flower Moon, say that was an hour and a half movie. I bet you it would have been better. But instead, it's however long it was, felt like 6 hours. But like there's
Yeah.
so much time in between. Like you could tell that story in a much shorter time and it would have been a nice movie. But I don't know if they get paid more for a longer movie or what, but like it just seems like unnecessary. It's like, hey, we have to fill 45 minutes of a movie, which is nonsense and bullshit. And him sitting by the bedside saying, I love you. And like, yeah, we get that. We knew that from the first scene. Like it's fine.
or did we though? I don't think he was like doing it all for the money. Like I don't know. Anyway.
loved it enough, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
sure.
great movie.
So they kind of also go into that same direction with cutting movies too short. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and I think that always bugged me, man. Like, we talk about like with Avengers and that, is like they always just, why are you cutting parts that are crucial to the
Crucial
story?
plots, yeah.
And we're cutting it out just to make a time, right?
Yeah, each side of it's wrong, right? So like if we want to make the movie longer than it needs to be, we're just adding fluff, right? And it has nothing to do really with the story. But if you have, like you said, crucial parts to the story, just keep it in. I will sit for a 4-hour movie that is entertaining. I
Like,
don't care. I'll pay extra for it.
2 minutes, dude.
Yeah, and most of the time
Two
it's like a minute scene, yeah.
2 extra minutes is not going to make it to a fan who are already paid, right? You already got their ass in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
2 extra minutes. Yeah, granted, I get it. Maybe 2 extra minutes every other couple minutes adds up. Okay,
Yes.
that's understandable. But if it's just an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes to the movie, dude, they're diehard fans. These people wanted to watch the movie. They paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
They paid to watch it. So just give them what they paid for. Like, they want to see it. Don't cut them short of it. Then, give you the Blu-ray special of like watching this half-assed edited scene, like, oh, this is what really happened though.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't tell what's happening. But even like if you remember when Endgame came out, they were all talking like complaining prior to that the movie was going to be too long, and was there going to be an intermission and all that. I don't know if you remember that, but nobody needed one.
No.
We were entertained by the movie. We finished it all. We could have watched another hour and been just fine.
100%, dude.
Just fine.
100%. But
Because
once
the
again,
story
like,
was good.
yeah. But if you have, Auntie Di sitting there, like watching it, that might be too long for her, right?
Yeah.
But if you have like people like you and me that are there, we want to watch it. We're invested, dude.
Yeah.
We are 100% invested in this.
Already watched 22 movies.
That's what I'm saying.
Give it to me.
Just give me it. Just give me the extra 10 minutes, man. Give me the extra 15, and don't cut it short. Like,
I would take an all-day movie. I'll do it.
all right, Killers of the Flower Moon, man, all day.
Excuse me. All-day good movie. My bad.
Yeah. But I think, and that's a good example. That movie, in my opinion, of course, could have been better if they had just cut a lot of that
Yeah.
long, drawn-out silence out, dude.
Make it an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Quick movie, but it's still good.
Yeah.
It doesn't. you can't only have a good movie if it's 3 hours long. It's like, that's not a thing. You can just make good fucking content. All you have to do, you know, and then I'm on board for that. So
Yeah, and so like I said, I hope a lot of these new shows on Disney Plus, like we talked about in one of the previous episodes with, you know, Daredevil, right? They're bringing the Punisher in. I hope those are good, right? I hope they're good enough to get you to start, you know, subscribing back to Disney Plus.
but it's almost like the same thing. We're just bringing back on what's worked before and see if it works again, you know?
True, but the fact is they did the DC thing of that didn't exist anymore, and this
That never happened.
kind of right. They kind of
Yeah.
did that. They're still. It's actually really interesting to kind of bring that up because they're still kind of they like it does exist, but it doesn't
Exist.
really like.
Netflix's shows.
Yeah. So that's interesting with how they're doing that. But nonetheless, I mean, look, the reality of it is, dude, I'm gonna watch it. You know,
Yeah.
like James, you're gonna watch it. Like we're gonna still watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't. Maybe you will. I don't know, dude.
I don't know,
You
man.
know what, dude? Once you see the Punisher, you know,
Yeah.
you know, he's all suited up. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want to watch it.
I'll probably watch it.
Yeah,
I
you will.
got love for that.
So, and that's kind of my point, dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you like the comic, dude? Yeah. We'll put a picture of this in there, but yeah, I gave him a CGC comic, The Punisher, which is like the John Bernthal variant one. which is
That
pretty
was super dope. Super dope.
So, but yeah, and like I said, you know, going back into that, you know, I'm still those things do get me excited, right? They do get me excited, but let's just hope, man. Let's just hope that you know there's some good creativity coming. You know,
I hope, man, because all I watch anymore now is pretty much anime, because they're at least putting out content every year. You know, different shows, different ideas. You know, some of it's pretty similar, but it entertains me. We rarely watch like regular TV shows or movies anymore, just because
Yeah.
like what we're talking about today, it just doesn't hold my interest anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I want it to so hard. Like we're going back, and me and Jen were watching a show from 2011. That's what we started last night.
so you're interesting too, because for you know people that don't know you, you don't always jump into the hype and the you know the hoopla of hey this show is hit, like let's go watch it. You don't. You refused to watch Walking Dead when it was popular. That's around the time we met. You didn't watch it. I couldn't get you to watch an episode.
I watched the first season with my daughter and Jen not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, I've seen enough. I'm good.
Yeah,
I tried.
I could not get
tried.
You, could not get you to watch it. What else was it?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. You finally watched that a
And
while
it was
back.
fucking terrible.
What was it? Game of Thrones, which was kind of funny, right? You guys just saw that earlier, and you didn't watch that. Like, or did you watch it?
yeah, I watched it. I watched it after all the hype. Like after everyone.
But my point is,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
never jump on when it's like it's relevant, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Like you just, you know. But to be fair, you know that I understand that too, man. I understand that too. If it's not capturing your interest, why?
I remember like when I was, obviously I'm a big Peaky Blinders fan. We all know this, right?
Yes, he
and
is.
I watched it through, and during watching them as they came out, they could do no wrong. But as I go back and watch it, like I can't stand the first season anymore. Like it's just so slow and boring, dude. Like I just can't. But once it's not all hyped up, like you can actually sit back and objectively watch the show.
Yeah.
You know, and I love Peaky Blinders, probably my favorite show that's ever been made. One of, right? But like I always skip the first season.
Yeah.
Just can't do it. Like I don't need to be introduced for 10 episodes on the same characters that I already know. You know, so
I like the show too. I would just wish I had a good friend that would have told me about it
my fucking
when
God.
it came out.
I tried to get this guy to watch this show for probably 4 years, and then he always refused. And then randomly one day he comes to work and he's like, "Hey, I found a new show. It's called Peaky Blinders, and I love it." And I'm like, "Yeah, what the fuck?" I put it up at work, like on my phone, and try to get them
No,
to
it's
watch it.
because you started me with season 1, episode 1, and it's, I read the bloody dead. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching, dude?
The
And you're
subtitles
like,
are
no,
fun.
it'll get better. Like Tom Hardy's in it. And I'm like, yeah, is he though? Like, is he though?
Oh, he's in it.
Dude, man, he's good, right? He's good, but it was just so like that was rough, man, to get into it at first.
Yeah.
because it was just like I'm watching. Nothing wrong with all that, but I'm just like it was just hard to kind of get into it. But once I got past that just kind of slowness of it, dude, phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Phenomenal show. Probably one. You're right. Probably one of the best ones ever. To the point where it's a show that you and I bond over too. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really, really good show. So
Which we got to show the poster on here one time.
which they're making a movie on that.
Yeah.
And totally stoked for that, right? That's going to be awesome. We'll get his ass in the seat to see that.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
100%. But so like I said, there are things that are kind of coming forward, rebooting, if you will.
Yeah.
Which we're going to be excited for. Hands down, 007, Peaky Blinders, all that kind of stuff, right? We'll be excited to see that. But yeah, dude, like I said, it just keeps going back. All right, so with that being said, what about like Fantastic Four? Are you going to be stoked
Fuck
for
no.
that?
Nope, you couldn't pay me. Could not pay me. Didn't like it in the comic books as a kid. Didn't like the 8 movies that were all dog shit, and you can't pay me to get to this new one.
Dude, so I was going to tell you, like, how many Fantastic Four movies have they done already?
Do you know why? I saw a story on that, right? So back when Fox owned them, they had it in their contract that they had to, every so many years, put out a movie, or else they'd lose the rights and it would revert
Spider-Man.
back to, same thing. So that's why. And it's always at like a, whatever the period is, don't quote me
Just
on
before they're going to lose
Right before they're going to lose it,
the
it comes
rights,
out. And they're all bad. Because they don't care, because they're still making money off it, but they don't want to lose the rights to it.
Yeah.
So, and now I saw the cast on it today, and I'm not a fan of it. It's actually the guy from Mandalorian, the main character, I forget his name.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's Mr. Fantastic, which I thought was kind of odd. He's a great actor, but I just don't feel like that fits him.
See, that kind of leads into another thing, and I want to get off on a rant, but, like, they need to sometimes stop recycling actors.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
They go with what's hot right now.
Yeah, but that's like, you know, like if we look back in like during the 90s, how many movies was Nicolas Cage in? Like, let's be real.
All classics too, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, Gone in 60 Seconds, it was good, right? It was good. But like, how many times do we need to see Nicolas Cage doing Nicolas Cage stuff? It's like, now they're going to, like, Pedro Pascal, he's a great actor, man. Phenomenal actor. But like 15 years from now? Nicolas Cage, dude. Like, it's going to be the same kind of thing.
It's funny, he did a movie with Nicolas Cage about Nicolas Cage's past. That's actually, that was not intended.
You know, but that's what I'm going to get. Like, you just use them sparingly, man. It's like, you can love salt and pepper, but you use salt and pepper too much, man, it just becomes...
Do you remember the girl from... oh my gosh, she was in that nursing show that was popular, Grey's Anatomy, and she was the blonde, and then she was in that movie with Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah,
and she was like super
Katherine
hot.
Heigl.
Yeah, everyone loved her. She was in everything.
That was my girl back in the day,
She was in everything.
Dude. Yeah,
I haven't seen that bitch in 20 years. She gone, son. She gone. You know, so like it's just they overuse it.
Yeah.
To your point, they overused her.
Oversaturation,
You
dude.
never see her anymore.
Yeah.
And if someone saw her on the street, you would not be able to pick her out of a lineup, dude. Like,
it's like relevant, dude. They become less and less relevant after they've been watered down, and that's tough. You know, that's kind of tough. But like I said, I really hope that doesn't happen with Pedro Pascal.
yeah. I loved him in Narcos. He was
Yo,
dope in that
yeah,
show.
solid, dude,
Yeah,
solid.
fucking
What he
loved it.
does is good. You know, what he does is good, but it's just like, that's, once again, that's not on him. That's on the creative minds, right?
Yeah.
Your casting directors who are like, hey, let's use this guy in every single movie that's
He worked
popular.
for that movie. Let's throw him in.
Yeah.
Laziness again.
Which is, I'm kind of glad they don't really use him in The Mandalorian like that. Like, he's obviously the voice.
Yeah.
But
see his
realistically,
face.
anyone who knows, Brendan Wayne, you know, Lateef Crowder, and my boys, man, those guys, they hold it down. Which I've met them. They're great guys. Really, really awesome. And they are the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pedro, but they really are. They are the Mandalorians, if you will.
Yeah.
One's a brawler, the other one's a gunslinger, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
So they bring that character to life. He's the voice.
Yeah.
You know, I even have actually, like, I've heard that plenty of times in the past, like, you know, that's their titles, like the brawler, the gunslinger, the voice, like, and they all create that character. If they're going to make that work in film, dude, Pedro Pascal's going to have to take off his helmet, right? He's going to have to, his character's going to have to show his face because it's just not going to work. You can't have that guy running around on screen for 2 hours and you never see his face. Like, it just won't work with the audience, you know? So we'll see how they write that in there. But, yeah, once again, man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, dude. It's oversaturation sometimes, even with actors.
Yeah, it just burns you out. And again, it's just more like I don't need to see him again. Like I don't need to see him in the role of Fantastic Four. I really don't. It almost will make me think worse of his other roles. You know,
One of my favorite movies actually with him in it is it was a Netflix movie where they're playing like these like special ops guys that they go in. They essentially the dude from he was in Star Wars. Oh my God, now I can't even remember their names or the name of the movie. Someone's gonna scream it out. We'll drop it in the background. But yeah. Anyway, they're these special ops guys that were all in the military together, and they all know each other. They go to like South America to essentially take out a drug lord and steal all his money. And
why does that sound familiar?
that dude Charlie, whatever from Sons of Anarchy, was in it.
Oh, another show I would not.
James will throw it out to us right now with the Netflix movie. But Ben Affleck was in it. Solid movie, man. I really, really love that movie.
Yeah.
And I can't remember it right now. I'm like, Triple Frontier. Yeah.
I've seen that movie.
Fantastic
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Fantastic movie. Pedro Pascal was in it. He wasn't like overutilizing the role. He was just like the pilot, one of the guys in the phenomenal movie. I really like Netflix, one of their best movies.
Yeah.
The other movie with Chris Hemsworth. was also on there. Great movie. Yep. Extraction, another. They actually did 2, right? Extraction 1 and 2. Great movies. Like I said, I thought those were really cool, action-wise at least.
Action-wise.
They're action movies. Stories. Yeah, but
the story is action.
The story is action, exactly, dude. And they were great. Chris Hemsworth kind of treads that line, though, dude, of oversaturation. Yeah. I think he's a really solid actor, but you got to be careful, dude. Like, how long is he going to go before it's just like we've seen him in every movie and it's just his character's burnt out? He's like the same character in every movie. You don't want that. And that sucks for actors, dude, because, they're, at the end of the day, their job is to make money. Right? Their job is to make money.
I don't blame them for it.
No. They're going to take a role. As long as they like it, they're going to take the role. But, like, when their agents or whoever is like, hey, yeah, take this role, and it just becomes the same thing over and over and over.
Ryan Reynolds, he's Ryan Reynolds in every movie. He's funny,
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. He's himself in every damn movie.
Yeah,
And
Nicolas Cage. No, I'm kidding.
Both great actors. Like nothing wrong with it, but it's just you're hiring for that specific type of comedy or seriousness that Downey can do.
And that's kind of like, what do they call it? Like typecasting, when they get like essentially just like stuck into a role and they can never break away from that monotony of the same role, the same character essentially in every.
Like that Hispanic dude. He's always like the extra in every gangster movie, and his name is Hector.
Hector,
every,
Hector. You just said Hector, dude. No one even knows his name.
Yeah.
It's a Hector.
But he's Hector in like all 40 movies. And he's just the same gangbanger, and that shit was funny.
Dude, he was in The Walking Dead.
Was he?
Yeah, he played a gangster in The Walking Dead, of course. Yeah, he's always the same guy,
Hector.
That's who he is. You don't want to be Hector. No. I mean, if you're Hector, you're cool, dude. We actually like you. But
you're pretty dope.
You don't.
His name is Noel.
Noel, that's right. Yeah, that is his name. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's not Hector. No. Imagine.
I'm calling him Hector, dude. If I see him, I can't help it.
So I follow him on Instagram too, and he's posted that. He's like, yeah, dude, every time people see me, they're like, hey, what's up, Hector? And he just responds like, hey, what's going on? Like, he knows that's who he is. So it's like, dude, but yeah.
I wonder if at this point he requests it. He's like, hey, whatever role I am, my name's Hector.
My name's Hector, yeah. Fast and the Furious, I think that was the first time I ever saw him was Hector.
Yeah. I think the first time I noticed him was Training Day. When he was the like part of those like 3 gangbangers that kidnapped Ethan Hawke.
See, but that's like a good point too. Training Day, movies like that, dude. Original, right, for its time. There was nothing else that was like that at its time. Solid movie, dude.
Yeah. Great choices on acting, like all across the board.
Denzel
you can have a good
Washington
story and then have shitty actors that just can't bring it to life. You know, so I think it's just more. I think it's just the whole thing. It all just seems lazy and thrown together to me, or rushed. I guess it might not even be lazy. It might just be rushed, like deadlines and like, oh fuck it, we'll get James is playing the next James Bond because we ain't got nobody else. You know what I mean? And it's like, will James do good? No,
doesn't matter.
Got the same name.
We're gonna make money.
Yeah,
we're gonna make money.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what it is. It's just crunch times and deadlines and just laziness.
So if you were to break it down right now, what movie do you want to see?
There's none.
No. Well, okay, what movie do you want to see made?
I would love to see anime movies made into real life. I would love to see like a real life Dragon Ball movie that wasn't the shitty ones that they already put out. Because they've always said that they don't have the technology. Fuck you, I've seen Endgame, they have the technology. I've seen Avatar, they have the technology. Like a story that millions upon millions of people like, maybe they're kind of over it because Dragon Ball's old, dude. It was like when I was born. Right. But tell me right now you wouldn't go see a greatly made Dragon Ball Z movie.
And I know the answer as to why they don't. Because it doesn't interest those in power. The powers that be, those in power, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't interest them. Yeah. So they will never do it. Doesn't matter how many millions or billions of people would watch it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't even care. That's almost like contradictory of like trying to make money, right? Like you think they would say, hey, let's make this movie. We're going to make a shit ton of money on it, and everyone's going to love it. Let's just do it. But they don't.
Nah, let's put another zombie show out.
Yeah.
And just call it something by a different title. And then
because
it's new.
They're trying to appeal to the masses, but they don't realize sometimes those particular nerds are the masses, dude.
Yeah.
Those are the masses. And it's like you see it when it happens. That whole Deadpool and Wolverine.
I don't want to see it.
That just broke records though for trailers of like how many times they've cursed in a trailer, right? And there's so many people that want to watch this movie. Once again, you have people that weren't even nerds, right? They weren't even into this that want to go watch it, which is interesting. Like I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything. I know they're bringing back other characters too. They're incorporating well, it is in the MCU now, but they're incorporating a lot of Fox characters, from X-Men stuff into that. So that'll be interesting to see the direction they go with that. I'm sure we'll cover it, even though he says he doesn't want to watch it.
I don't want to watch it.
We're gonna watch it for the podcast.
Wolverine's dead. We're doing a prequel.
So he's gonna watch it.
It's another prequel that has it's Black Widow, the Black Widow movie.
I like this dynamic. I'm just going to interrupt this. I like this dynamic we have right now where Ty is the cynical one. He's just like, I don't like it. He's like the get off my lawn. And he's the old man. He's just, get off my lawn.
Okay, so anyone that's watching this, tell me that you like Black Widow.
Best movie ever made.
It's the same thing. So it's an out of place movie. If they made it before Logan, I would have 100% watched it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, why are we going back to this well? He's literally dead. We killed him off, and we had a nice story with it.
It was good, dude.
Logan was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
Right? And so it's the same thing. Like, they keep trying to bring Robert Downey Jr. back because the MCU's failing. Do you want to see that?
No.
Okay, so it's the same
Yeah.
fucking story. Like, no, I don't want to see it, dude. I don't want to see him stripe up with yellow on again. Like, or for the first time, actually. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Would you go watch it again?
What, Logan?
No. If they made Iron Man.
100% no.
Really?
Yeah, some
no.
things you can't do. Some things you can't do, man. You can't do that. Like, they did it, and I didn't watch this, so I can't speak with, I guess, intelligence on it. But in that Nick Fury show,
Didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. And that's why I
Okay.
said I can't speak with, like, great
Gotcha.
intelligence on it. But I know, from what I saw on Instagram, is that they essentially went back and said, hey, you remember that scene in Civil War when Rhodey, War Machine, my dude, actually fell and he was just paralyzed? No, he actually died. And it was a Skrull that took his place. And so cool, you just went back and shat on one of the best scenes in Endgame, and that's when James Rhodes is like crying, holding his best friend, his brother, and he dies. And you're literally just, but that was just a Skrull.
The scroll that doesn't know him.
That doesn't really know or care.
This is why I can't go watch Robert Downey Jr. again, because that scene was so good. It hit everybody. Oddly enough, I know Spider-Man's is really good, but Gwyneth Paltrow's scene with him at the end, it gets me every time.
Oh, dude, I cry like a bitch
the moment
every time.
she has like a hiccup,
Who's crying?
She genuinely was crying too, and she has like a hiccup, and every time I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, that's me, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I cry. So I cannot go now again watch him and be like. So that it shits on the scene that I love.
Yes, dude.
You know what I mean? So
that's
why.
the worst part is like when you just crap on something.
Yeah.
And that's an issue kind of that, brings up going back into the revamps and reboots. Sometimes they get too much into this. We're going to reboot this or revamp that. And you crap on what you already did.
Yeah.
Now I'm teasing you about the whole prequel thing, but you sometimes they do that. Like, did we need to end with that? Like, end on the good note, end on the high note, right? Where it's like, now we're going to, go back and tell you the beginning story of just because we're looking for a cash grab. Why don't you just start with the beginning story?
Yeah.
Start there, have some better storytelling, start in the beginning and work your way forward. Now the actor's like 6 years older than they were, and now you're having to CGI everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's even like seeing Robert Downey Jr. in an Iron Man. He's going to look like an old ass man.
Yeah.
He already kind of did in Endgame. Like they had to highlight his hair and do all that. He's still fine, but I don't need to see him again.
Yeah,
he put it to right. He didn't even want to come back and do it. They wanted him to come back, or they had him come back and do the I Am Iron Man scene, because originally they never did that.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to. He's like, I put that shit to bed, dude. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm done. I've said my goodbyes to the character, but he ended up coming back and doing
I think
it.
the word, and I could be corrected, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is they filmed that scene like just before the Oscars or something like that. Or before one of those award shows, like they filmed that scene. They're like, hey, we got everybody here. We're not gonna get and they showed up to a set, recorded that scene, and then they went about their business for the awards. I'm like, that's insane, dude. That is crazy. Once again, like I said, you're just like, why are we doing that? Like, why are we? But it was still good. That was a good scene.
Yeah, it worked out well, but I understand his point, which is more to our point. Like, just let it be dead, man. Like, if I put it to bed, you guys should put it to bed.
Yeah.
And just enjoy what we made.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, I think that kind of brings us to the end, man.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you guys let us know what you think. Obviously, follow us on Instagram, watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
But hopefully you enjoyed this little bit of a green screen that we have going on, and the set that we're on right now.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. All of it's Real Talk Russ.
Yep.
And then Russell Martini. You can find me on Instagram and X and all that. You can follow Ty as well. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully we stirred the pot a little bit and you guys are pissed, yelling at throwing your phones or punching your car steering wheel, whatever it is. Punching the car steering wheel, whatever it is.
We're going to punch a fucking car right now.
But all right, guys, thanks for joining us on Real Talk Russ. We'll see you on the next episode. Keep it real, guys.
See you guys.
Hey guys, this episode of Real Talk Russ is brought to you by Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare. This product here is fantastic. We all use it for our tattoos. As you can see, we're sleeved out, and it's been used on my arms, all across my body, and it works fantastic. So for 20% off, guys, go to realtalkruss.com, use our code RealTalkRuss. You'll get 20% off your entire order or any product you buy. You can find that link also in our link tree or our website. Please go to it. Both Tyler and I use it. We love it.
I wish I would have found it much sooner. I've had tattoos my whole life, and some of them have not turned out the best. But you know, with the recent tattoos I've had, I love what I'm getting from them. So you guys definitely check it out.
You guys probably recognize them from Shark Tank. I can tell you they're phenomenal. So go check them out. Use code RealTalkRuss for 20% off your entire order.